Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is April 12th, 2024, and we are getting into the volume 192 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm going to mention, as I mentioned in every video on this channel, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question coming from Ranjan Patel 6963. F4 Mumbai May 2006. How much time? All right, let's take a look. So family preference category F4 Mumbai is in India, so we are looking at India chargeability area, and the priority date is in May 2006. So I'm going to take a look at the graph A, see how long, the full length. And let's see, F4, chargeability area, India, we are looking at January 2006, which means that people with priority date was January 2006. As of right now, April, May, they are getting their immigrant visas becoming just now available because just now their priority date became current. As of May, we're still in April though. But the new May visa bulletin is already out, so if you have not seen video on it, I have posted it yesterday. Check it out. There's some good news for most everyone finally. Okay, so you are Ranjan in May 2006, so looks like you are looking at roughly about from Jan to May, about 5 months before your priority date becomes current. That is, of course, if we see 1 month every month movement on the visa bulletin. A lot of times, as most of you know, every month it doesn't move 1 month. Sometimes it moves more, sometimes it doesn't move, sometimes it goes back and retrogresses. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but assuming that we see 1 month per month movement, you're looking at about 5-6 months before your priority date becomes current and your immigrant visa becomes available. Now, again, keep in mind, by now, I think you're already documentarily qualified, so you're just waiting for the interview. But keep in mind that after your priority date becomes current, there is still some time before the interview is scheduled because, you know, U.S. embassies, they have their own scheduling system. And of course, there is some wait for that, you know, wait in line basically now for an interview. So there's definitely going to be some more wait after your priority date becomes current. But on the plus side, you've done 99% of all the waiting already, so you are really close. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Princess B. Princess B, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed. I really appreciate that. So Princess B says, hello sir, thank you for your update. You're very welcome. I'm a mom. My son, a U.S. citizen, he petitioned for me in August 2021. I get my work permit, Social Security approved, perfect. I get reference for different documents. I send them before expired dates. Then December 6, 2023, me and my son went for my interview after it. Okay, perfect. Complete the officer told us she will recommend approval. Perfect. It's 4 months now and I don't hear nothing from USCIS or NBC. Can you tell me something, please? Of course. So on the plus side, you don't have to really worry about, you know, you commented on the visa bulletin video. You don't have to worry about the backlog whatsoever. Your immigrant visa has been available really as soon as your son petitioned for you. So that's definitely great news because you're in immediate relative category. So you've been waiting 4 months. Typically, whenever it comes to immediate relative categories, it depends on the chargeability area, but you're already here, so you really don't have to worry about it that much. But typically, whenever it comes to immediate relative categories, it's somewhere between 6 months and 12 months, so a year. On average, I would say about 9 months wait for the whole process, but you already got recommended for approval, so really it's only, I would say, a matter of time. So I would say give them another couple months, maybe 2-3 months, and if you don't hear anything from them, you might want to submit potentially a case inquiry. But again, I wouldn't worry about it too much, especially because you already have your work permit or Social Security, all the documents that actually matter. I mean, everything else matters too, but you know, it's hard when you don't have anything. But when you do have, you know, at least a work permit, it really makes life much much easier. All right, so let me pause the response here and we're gonna move on to the next one from Patricia P9709. Hi, my daughter became documentarily qualified in January this year. Awesome. Her priority date is February 2017. Currently, they are at July 2015. Does she really have to wait 2 years for an interview? Also, does it depend on the priority date or the country of chargeability? Or both? Because our country is small island, Trinidad, and I'm hoping that there are available visas. Okay, great question, Patricia. Yes, so it definitely depends on both the priority date and the chargeability. So let's see, her priority date is February 2017 and they are on right now July 2015. So yes, what now basically your daughter is waiting for is the availability of the immigrant visa, because that's really what the graph A represents on the visa bulletin. It is when the immigrant visa becomes available and how much backlog there is before it becomes available. So I know it's not the greatest news, but on the plus side, we have seen some really good movement with the May 2024 visa bulletin. And I am really hoping, because honestly, I kept saying that for a while now, but I kept hoping to see those big jumps, like 3 months, 6 months jumps ahead, so positive movement on the visa bulletin for a while now, because we had a huge delay, huge backlog accumulation because of the whole pandemic and everything was closed for a while. So we have seen all this stuff just sitting there without any movement, some of that even retrogressed. But we will see, hopefully, in the next few months, if we see the pattern of this consistent movement. That's definitely huge plus, definitely good news. So we might see some of the categories, especially like a first preference category. I would say first and second, mostly. I don't know if we're gonna see anything for F3, F4. Besides, because those categories in general, people are waiting regardless for a long time. But F1 and F2 categories, I think we're gonna see some really good movement in the next few months, hopefully. But for you now, really, for your daughter, the only thing that's left really is just to wait and keep checking on the visa bulletin. So yeah, hopefully we will see some movement. So yes, as of right now, roughly about 2 years. But again, if it keeps on jumping 3 months, 6 months ahead, obviously it's going to be less. So we're gonna pray for that. I'm gonna post a response here. There's a comment from Cindy. Hi, I'm also from Trinidad, waiting for interview, wishing her good luck. Cindy, thank you very much for contributing as well. Patricia, thanks to you. I'm really glad that you guys are coming. And regarding the small country, yes. So if you look, at the chargeability areas that there are in general on the visa bulletin, those are the countries that have the heaviest immigration numbers. So if you are from a smaller country that does not have as much of immigration traffic, yes, potentially whenever the immigrant visa becomes available and it is time for U.S. Embassy in Trinidad to schedule the interview, potentially you're looking at much shorter wait line for interview because there's not as many people in front of you. So yeah, I would say definitely might be the case, hopefully. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Mohammed Saiduddin 9910. Hi, my category is F4 and filing date is 18 May 2006 after priority date is current. How many days NVC will take to send welcome letter? Okay, so let me take a look at the visa bulletin because you are in May 2006 F4 and I'm assuming you're from all chargeability area. So we're gonna take a look at that. So you're 2006 and it's March 2008 right now. So you should be not only done with the NVC, yeah, because you're behind and this is ahead. You should not only be done with the NVC, you should already be done with documentary qualification and already waiting for your... So here's one thing I'm going to ask you, Mohammed. I think we might be a little bit on different terminology. Are you waiting for sure for a letter from NVC? Are you waiting for the NVC to open up your portal so that you can become documentarily qualified? Or are you referring to the interview? Now, if you are referring to when your interview is going to be scheduled, everything is good. If you are already documentarily qualified, everything is good. Everything is looking good because you are in 2006 and looks like current priority date that had the availability of the immigrant visas as of May 2024 is on July 2007. So you're about a year ahead, a little bit more than a year ahead. So that means your interview welcome letter for the interview for immigrant visa should be coming in literally like any time between now. In some countries it does take a little bit longer, like for example in Philippines, I know in some situations people wait as long as 2 years after their priority date becomes current for the interview because the immigration traffic is a little bit heavier there, so there's a longer wait for an interview. But in most of the cases, like I said, it's somewhere between, it can take up to a year and a half, but in smaller countries it's even faster than that. But if you're not documentarily qualified yet, and if your NVC portal is not even open yet for you to become documentarily qualified, I would say there is some kind of issue going on. And unless you are from, let's see, from maybe India, possibly, potentially, June 2006, and you're May. So if you're from India, chargeability area, then yes, you have about a month wait before your NVC portal opens up. If you're from Mexico, there is another 5 years. Yes. Philippines, there's roughly another, looks like a year. But if you're from all chargeability, if you're from any other country other than India, Mexico, and Philippines, there is, I'm assuming, some kind of delay in your case. So please let me know a little bit more details if you can in a follow-up comment, and we will take a look at it once again, and I'll try to give you a little bit more details. Okay, moving further to Nicola Gardner 7456. What about the Caribbean? So Caribbean is in all chargeability area. So depending on which family preference category we are looking at, doesn't matter whether F1, F2A, F2B, we're looking at all chargeability right here. Sorry, it's not the whole thing, just this all chargeability area. So the only other ones are China, India, Mexico, Philippines that have their separate chargeability area. But literally everybody else from anywhere else in the world, we are looking at this graph right here. Okay, so let me post the response really quick, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Felgunipat. And then numbers. Hi sir, my priority date July 2010. Any update? Okay, so Falgunipat, if you can, let me know what the family preference category is. So in order to give the visa bulletin estimates, they're rough estimates. Keep in mind, everyone, please. But for me to give the estimates, I need three things: priority date, family preference category, and then the chargeability area. If you don't give me chargeability area, I'll just assume that it's all chargeability area, and we'll give you an answer based on those. But that's the three things I need. So if you can come back and let me know, I'll put more info needed. Thank you. And I'll put this like this. Double thank you. All right, there you go. Let's move on to the next one from user. Sorry, no name. YouTube sometimes doesn't show names. I don't know why. So, petition for parents that out of status. Any videos on I-485 form? Okay, so I think the only video on I-485 that I have, the newest one at least, is the one that you are commenting on. So I don't have any other separate video on that. But as far as the petition for parents that are out of status, I would say you probably are looking at not at I-485, but for looking at the I-130 first. Potentially I-130 together with I-485 if your parents are in the United States. But again, it depends the reason behind why they're out of status. Honestly, if they are here and they're out of status, if their visa expired or something along those lines, I would recommend reaching out to an immigration attorney, because normally I would say yes, go ahead, I-485 or I-130 and do it yourself, and it's fine, and you can do it, and it's not as complicated, if you are actually, doing your research and looking at, official websites, USCIS.gov in most of the cases is all you need. But whenever it comes to situations where there is an expired visa, where the status expired, or something along those lines, I definitely recommend reaching out to an immigration attorney. I do have a video on this channel on how to find a good immigration attorney, because I worked for a few immigration attorneys myself, and I worked with an immigration attorney on my own immigration case, so I've came across quite a few of them. So check it out. But yeah, whenever it comes to situations like this, I would definitely recommend reaching out and just to see, because we are getting into the delicate area where things need to be addressed a certain way, so that you don't delay, so that more problems do not arise from the current situation. All right, so I'm gonna post my answer, and if you have any follow-up questions, definitely don't hesitate to come back and ask on this channel. I'll try my best to answer them. Okay, moving further to Kelvin Thomas 777. I have a question. I already completed I-9, but I am having trouble sending it because I don't know where to send it. Okay, so you don't have to worry about sending it anywhere else other than your employer. And that's really it whenever it comes to I-9. You don't have to file it. Basically, you fill it out, you give it to the employer stores it for their record, and in case if employer ever gets audited by USCIS, by whoever deals with that particular, I'm pretty sure they have a separate department with the I don't think it's Customs and Border Protection. I'm pretty sure it's USCIS. It might be Department of Homeland Security that does the audits whenever it comes to employers and employees in the immigration matters. All right, so yeah, but with the I-9s, the employers, they store it, and that's really it. If any kind of audit comes up, they show it, and if they don't have it, they potentially might get in trouble. But yeah, that's it. So you don't have to file it, basically. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Meena Singh 9075. Hi, from the Caribbean. My priority date is 22nd March 2021. Can you say if I fall into that? My lawyer said everything already presented, waiting on a response from NBC, already documentarily qualified. Thank you, sir, for the info. Bless. All right, so Meena, you're already documentarily qualified. That's definitely great news. It looks like you're working with a lawyer, so that's definitely good. Let's see. So I don't know your family preference category. Did you say I haven't my priority date? Yeah, so please, if you can, let me know. Again, 3 things I need. Well, you provided that you're from Caribbean, so you're in all chargeability area, and your priority date is in March 2021. But I definitely need to know what family preference category. But because you are already documentarily qualified, and it's only been, about 3 years, a little bit over 3 years since you filed the petition, I would say you're probably somewhere around F2A maybe, or maybe even in immediate relative category. But I'm thinking you might be F2A. If I'm wrong, you let me know. But looks like F2A for all chargeability is on June 21, and you are in March 2021. So if you are indeed F2A, and the reason why I'm assuming that you're in F2A because you're already documentarily qualified, and if it's moving that quick, you gotta be either immediate relative or F2A, right? So spouse or child of permanent resident. So if you are an F2A, and if you're not, please correct me in a follow-up comment, and we will take a look at that again. But if you are F2A, you are looking at about, so March, right now, you have March, and right now it's on June. So March, April, May, June. So like 2-3 months before your priority date becomes current. And once it becomes current, if you are in F2A and not immediate relative. Because if you are immediate relative category, then it is already, you don't even need to worry about this visa bulletin whatsoever, because your immigrant visa is already available. The only thing you're waiting for is for the interview to be scheduled. But if you are an F2A, roughly 2-3 more months before your priority date becomes current, and then your immigrant visa becomes available, and then U.S. Embassy will start scheduling process for the interview, which again, Caribbean, I'm not sure how heavy the traffic, the immigration traffic is from Caribbean, but yeah, roughly, it's anywhere between 6 months to a year is normal whenever it comes to scheduling of these interviews. But on the plus side, you're already done with the tough stuff. Really, the only thing that's left is once the interview is scheduled, you'll have to do the medical examination and then do the interview, which again is pretty straightforward, nothing new, nothing that you haven't already done in your documentary qualification process. So really all you have is just a little bit of the weight left. So let me post a response and we're going to move on to the next one from the Mark 99. That's right, even if you are documentarily qualified, you will not receive an interview if your final action date is not current on the visa bulletin. Yes, that is correct. Let's move on to the next one from Sompol Boomerang Jero, and definitely mispronounced most of that, sorry about that. So F4, final action date moves 3 weeks. Yeah, I know it's quite disappointing. It's quite disappointing. We've seen some movement, but again, like I always say, some movement is better than no movement. So even if it's just 3 weeks, at least something. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Amir Persaud. Hi sir, my priority date is 28 September 2017, F11, so F1, unmarried child with 2 kids. Sir, is like a year now, F1 is not moving, please for your advice. And can you please explain about F1 and F2B, please? I am from Guyana. Okay, Amir, so I'm pretty sure there was good movement for F1. Let me double check that. But I am pretty sure we had some good movement specifically for F1 from April 2024 to May 2024. Yeah, look at that. So we got February 2015. And in May, we got July 2015. So we had excellent movement for F1 from April to May, visa bulletin, of about February. So we got February, March, April, May, June, July, about 6 months, 5 months. All right. Sorry, my math is horrible. That's why I do immigration stuff, not accounting. But this is what we're looking at. So far, it's pretty good. Hopefully, we will see that consistent movement. But yes, there is some good movement. And you are in, let's see, you are September 2017. So September 2017, you are looking at about roughly another 2 more years before your priority date becomes current. But again, hopefully, we will see that consistent movement. I would say in the next few visa bulletin editions, we will be able to tell better if this movement that we've seen from April, May is just a one-time thing, or if there is a pattern to it. And Department of State, USCIS, Homeland Security, everybody who's involved, they are doing something to catch up with the backlog. We will see. But for now, things are looking pretty good. As far as your question to explain F1 and F2B, so basically F1 is pertaining to petitioner. You have if it is a U.S. citizen petitioning for their child, and son or daughter over 21, because if you're over 21, they don't consider you a child anymore. So that's F1. But F2B it refers to permanent resident. If you're a permanent resident petitioning for son and daughter who's unmarried over 21. So you see, it's practically the same category. The only difference is the petitioner is whether they are a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. Now, in some situations, if you are petitioning for your son or your daughter and you're a permanent resident, as the process goes, because it takes so long, sometimes permanent residents, they become naturalized while the process is going. So they become naturalized and they become U.S. citizen. When that happens, in DC, usually they send you a notification that's saying that, hey, we can upgrade your case from F2B to F1. And there you have an option. It's a gamble. It's a hit and miss. Sometimes you're better off staying in F2B. Sometimes you're better off staying in F1. Honestly, it doesn't matter that much. So I always recommend F1 is F1 for a reason, because it's above the F2. So I always recommend just switching to F1. You might wait a little bit longer, but it's only going to be a month or 2 months, because if you look at the visa bulletin, for the most part, they're pretty close. Well, right now they're quite a big difference. But F2B right now, as you can see, is doing worse than the F1. However, if we look at the April, F2B is doing better than F1. You see what I mean? Which is, it doesn't make sense. You would expect F1 to always do better than F2B, but that's why it is gamble, because you might switch and next month's visa bulletin comes out and the other category moves 6 months ahead and yours doesn't. So it really is hard to tell whether, but F1 is F1 for a reason. Now, whenever it comes to your particular situation, you can't switch from F1 to F2B, so it's not even up for consideration. Okay, so let me post a response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Paula Dome 7324. Hello, sir. Thank you for the update you have been giving. Very welcome. Glad it was helpful. I am in F1 category, priority date May 2016, and documentarily qualified November 2022. I am from Ghana. Can you please tell me when I will get an interview date based this massive movement? Thank you. Absolutely. So let's take a look at the visa bulletin and see what's going on for F1. I know I just looked at it, but I don't remember numbers at all. So you are May 2016, you're from Ghana, so you're in all chargeability area, May 2016, and right now we have July 2015. So you are looking at about less than a year, because you're in May, wait. See my method here, horrendous. You're in May 2016, and this is July. So May, okay, so yeah, you are looking at less than a year, because we're going back about some May, June, July. Okay, so you're looking about 10 months. That is if we don't see any more massive jumps and visa bulletin will keep moving every month by 1 month. If that's going to be the case, you're looking roughly at another 10 months. For the availability of the immigrant visa, once your immigrant visa becomes available, U.S. Embassy, they start to schedule the interview. So after your priority date becomes current, there is, I don't know how things are in Ghana, but you are looking at, I would say, at least 6 months before the interview is scheduled. I don't think I've ever seen a case where the interview is scheduled faster than 6 months. But on average, it's somewhere between 6 months and 12 months after the priority date is current. Obviously, in the countries with heavier immigration numbers, it can be more. It can be a year and a half. So there's still a little bit more time to wait. But on the plus side, I would say the hardest part is already done, which is the documentary qualification process. Well, honestly, for me, the hardest part is medical, because I hate all the medical stuff. But most people don't care about medical, and documentarily wise, it's a documentary qualification usually that is the problematic one. But you're already done with that, so that's definitely good news. The only things left is just doing some waiting. Okay, let's do the last question for today from Nicola Lynch. Nicola, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed to this channel. I really appreciate it. So Nicola says, hi, I'm Nicola. I'm just checking if there is any positive for F3. So your October 3, 2010 priority date. So F3, let's take a look. I don't remember what was the movement for F3. So this is May, and I'm gonna open up April here. So in April, we had F3 on October 2009, and in May we got F3 on January 2010. So yes, definitely. So from October 1 to January 1, so that's October, November, December, January, so about 3-4 months movement ahead. So yes, absolutely. And you are in, oh, so you were referring to October 2010, or are you in October 2010? Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, Nicola, because you put October 3, 2010 and not October 1, 2010, I'm assuming October 3, 2010 is your priority date. And if that's the case, then you are looking at, let's see, so So you're 2010, January. So right now we are on January as of May. So you're looking and you're October 2010. Yeah, so this is October 3, 2010. So that's your priority date, definitely, because it was on October 2009. So you're looking roughly at another, from January to October, that's like 10 months. So another 10 months. So hopefully we will see the positive movement on everything, honestly, for everyone. You know, I myself watch the F4 all the time because I do have a petition pending for F4. So yeah, we are all in the same boat here. We are all immigrants waiting, and that's most of the times that's the case, you know. Whenever it comes to this, if you're doing everything the right way, the legal way, you have to wait for quite a long time, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Hopefully my answers were helpful today. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.